Hey, Gloucester Township. I'm Joe Allen here with Keith Gibbons, and this is the Restore GT podcast. Let's kick it off with our July 25th council meeting recap.
Okay.
So, first thing we had was let's go right to the clip. I mean, because that kind of gives the that just kind of sets the groundwork for everything that we talked about last week with no representation.
Yeah. So last week we spoke about not having representation and that we had organizational charts. If you wanted to go through other towns' organizational charts, citizens and residents were always above everyone on there because they're who elects our elected officials. So we we went over that a little bit last time. The last council meeting was a few days later, and there was a clip here where basically we were told that it's not always just the message that we send to them; it's also the messenger. So they don't like certain people. So
yeah, let's get into that clip.
You know what? Oh, we can agree on that. But sometimes it's not the message; it's the messenger. And oftentimes, we talk about the reactions that they get from my colleagues on council or myself here, but also, folks in the audience don't see the reactions that we're getting from the speaker or the things that are said. And again, it doesn't fall upon deaf ears. Sometimes it's not the message; it's the messenger. And so, in the past, we've talked about working together. We've talked about doing different things, and then, there's, a glow twit post or something like that, or maybe a township talk post or something. That's not productive. If we want to work together, then we work together. Our workshops, if any council member would like to have any item placed on our workshop agenda, sure. Let's sit down and discuss it. But quite frankly, you've seen we've canceled a couple workshop agendas because I've had one item that took about maybe 2 minutes to discuss. So that's why we had at our last meeting, when you asked about the process. I said, Mr. Cardis, we're going to put that on to our regular agenda rather than the workshop agenda. But a lot of the conversations and discussions will take place at a workshop agenda. There are things that any of my colleagues want to bring up, we can put it on the agenda.
Wow. Okay, so
yeah, it does fall on deaf ears. Sure.
It does fall on deaf ears. We knew that. To hear it flat out is crazy.
There's week after week. There's people week after week that say, "Can we be a part of this discussion or this group that makes?"
Yeah, I'm
changes?
offering my time to come and talk.
Pete
about
Heinball, every budget year, he wants to be a part of the group that goes through the budget, and they pretty much deny him.
Yeah,
Sam's made the same thing.
Paul as well. I mean, with
Paul
Blackwood,
downtown Blackwood. Paul has been all over downtown Blackwood.
So I guess to enlighten some people that may not be familiar with it, there's what's called a workshop meeting. It's not exactly a council meeting, but it's a workshop that you're supposed to go and be able to discuss whatever it is. Like he was saying, there's an agenda set for, okay, here's a couple topics that we'd like to talk about. So in other towns where the residents are the ones that have some things they'd like to discuss with their elected officials, here's some things that we'd like to discuss. But as you can see, one person or one council has only one topic that might take 2 minutes to discuss, so that's all they want to talk about. Well, what about us? What about the residents that have things that we'd like to discuss? Our workshops then also have a structure to them, which is set by council, to then exclude us from certain amounts of time, or the time that we are allowed to speak is at the wrong time when we need to talk. We've already discussed this in other meetings, but it's okay. Here we're going to talk about this. You guys can talk about it first, but then we're going to discuss it afterwards. And it's just the timing again is very not resident centered, process of how it should be playing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, workshops are constantly canceled.
Yeah, and they're canceled. You're canceled, so you can't even.
I know. This past meeting, I was sitting kind of within the group of the people that like to go to the workshops, and they were losing. They're back there losing their minds because they're like, the workshops only count if you actually have the workshops, and the workshops are always canceled. And the fact that if he looks at something, if Council President Orlando looks at something and says, That's only a 2-minute discussion. We don't need to have a workshop over it.
How do you know
Okay,
it's 2 minutes?
yeah.
How do you know?
We've had
I have no idea what this topic here. Well, last week we went for an hour and a half or whatever it took us to talk. You have no idea how long it takes for somebody to discuss something. But when we're putting time limits on things and stopping somebody from talking, you're suppressing their freedom of speech to be able to, to say anything.
It's like the simplest topic that can come up. It could last an hour and a half.
It could. You have no idea.
It's not
if
just,
you're open-minded. If you go in with an agenda that this is the outcome of what this is going to be, you can stop the meeting right there and go through it.
They say it doesn't fall on deaf ears, but it definitely it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And you know what? If they put together 2 hours before the council meeting to do a workshop, and people sat around and talked about it, none of what was discussed would ever matter.
Yeah,
that's where we are. It's sad, and I hate to be constantly negative about the way that things go down, but that it is what it is, and this
is the truth. I mean, that's what it is.
That's why people have been running against these folks for like a decade now. They've been just
and
so
how does it matter? People don't get out and vote, I guess is the bottom line.
It is. But to continue on with let's
recap the rest of the meeting, Joe.
July 25th. So it started off with, we found out that Councilwoman Stubbs was out again, which if you followed RestoreGT.com, I have kept a kind of a running count of whether or not she's there or not.
Joe loves
it's look, it's about representation, and it's about the 7 people up there that are there to represent everybody in our township, and she's not there. And if there's an illness or something keeping her away, that's fine. I'm not calling her out for having any kind of particular illness that keeps her away. I know she had a COVID issue a while, so I'm just saying that there's a representation thing. If it were me, and then for some reason I was not able to be a representative for the township, I would definitely back down.
Yeah, and there's a point where I believe, what did you say, it was 24 out of the last 38 meetings or so?
23 out of 38, which is about 40% attendance. So,
in school, 40% is what? What is that? What grade is that? An F.
It's 60. What's a 60? 68, 69% is like an F or below.
We're at
so
failing grade for attendance or representation, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah, I hate to harp on it and make it sound like I'm picking on somebody's health issue, but it is it's a representation thing. And look, there's got to be a time when you just step aside and you let somebody else come in and represent. It's just, I don't know. It's not good government. So it is what it is. Let's continue to follow it. She is up for re-election next year. I'm almost certain that she probably isn't going to step in and try to run again. Clearly, I would imagine she probably wants out. So it's probably.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I ran. I have an obligation. I'm going to stick it out. We don't know what thoughts are there. We don't know what health issues. It's all speculation, 100% speculation. But
it was
at the same time, the representation-wise, you would expect somebody that you elect to be there. I know it's been brought up, not just by you. There's other people that have been brought up at meetings, asking like, "Hey, this is a paid position," which I don't exactly get in line with that. But I understand the sentiment from everyone's side here that there's something to be said for only showing up for 40% of the meetings. I mean, there's.
Yeah, it is. It's not about. Some people will jump in and say that's what we're paying you for.
We're paying peanuts. We literally are paying in peanuts.
You basically $8,500 for the whole year. So it's not about the money. It's about the representation, and that's really all we care about.
I mean, and not for nothing, she has actually voted for residents on times that she's voted. She's voted against budget. She
voted against the budget in 2020. So
right. I mean, this time she did vote for the budget, but there's not. And that either way, no matter what way she votes, there's representation is the bottom line. I believe in this whole conversation here that we're talking about.
So that's and that goes back to our theme from last week. We have 7 members up there. It'd be nice if we had 7 opinions.
Right.
and not just
Instead of one
opinion shared across 7 people.
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to. But the next, and kind of the biggest thing that came on the budget was there's a stormwater management project, and it's going to cost $2 million. So that was questioned. If you're a member of Gloucester Township Talk on Facebook, you saw that Pete Heinbaugh talked about it. Just because we're borrowing the money, so it's $2 million, and we've decided to borrow it. And
we borrow a lot.
We do, and that's been one of the biggest complaints about the budget is the borrowing, rather than taking it and putting it on, and
well, for this particular project, it's an infrastructure issue, right? When we're talking about storm drain management, and that's where we have COVID money. That's what was it, $3.6 million that's left over from what we didn't use, and we're saying, okay, now this project popped up. Well, this project popped up. It falls right into one of the buckets that the COVID money can pay for.
Yeah,
but instead of using that money that we already have, we're going to borrow it. And this is where, you hear people like Sam Sweet get up there, or Pete Heinbaugh, that, week after week go up there and kind of hammer these people. But it's saying, I have money in my bank account, but instead I'm going to use this credit card here at a 30% interest rate, or whatever I don't even know what credit cards interest rate are. But you know what I'm saying? We're borrowing money versus using money that we already have. So we already have millions of dollars, and the infrastructure. The last meeting, they also talked about, we just got the money in our account, which is total BS, because by the state regulations, you are able to anticipate it and say it's coming. But the way that it's portrayed is this: we can't spend it. It's not in my pocket. I can't pull that money, out of my pocket, and I don't have this $5 right here. I don't have it. I can anticipate. I know it's in my pocket, just like I know it's in my bank account, and they're not anticipating for it. So they're borrowing, which then goes into, I know, a topic you and I were discussing earlier. I don't know if it was today or whatever day it was, but it was about that whole topic of people saying, well, there's a 2% cap, and that 2% cap thing. I think somebody else should probably explain it better than me.
We will, and I talked to Sam has talked to me. Sam Sweet, the guy who ran for mayor on my team last year. He's brought this up over and over, and because it's always a topic.
Yeah. When
people say, we've got a 9 point whatever increase for the year, and people say, I thought there was a 2% cap, and kind of what it comes down to is, it's the 2%. There is a 2% cap, but it doesn't include debt services, which is money that you've borrowed.
Right.
So
if you borrow more money, then you can increase the taxes on people to pay for that money because you borrowed it. Or for safety, if it's something to do with police, right?
Yeah,
there's another
public safety.
If you want to call it that.
So there's a lot of things that are outside of that 2% limit, and every time somebody mentions tax increases, somebody always comes back with the 2%.
Yeah.
So it is that's one of the ways.
It's a game. It's no different than.
That's why you see a lot of people getting excited about these loans that they're constantly taking out. So the details on this loan is it's $2 million, and the state has a program where if you need $2 million, basically half of it they'll give you at interest free,
right,
and the other half is at whatever the rate that the bond rate is. Right. So our bond rates are generally pretty low interest, but rates are going up. So it's not, you still have to take that.
Fed just increased 75 basis points the other day, and
so it's.
But the interest-free part. Right now, we're borrowing $2 million, which $1 million of it would be interest-free. If it was a $10 million project, $5 million would have been interest-free. But for this particular case, we're talking about $1 million interest-free and then $1 million at bond rate.
Yeah. So and it has to be at 50%, because somebody said, well, why don't you just take $1 million interest-free and then $1 million out of the COVID money? And it doesn't work that way. So it has to be. So if you took $1 million of the COVID money, then you'd only be able to take a $500,000 interest-free, and you still have to take a $500,000 bond out on it. So.
But that's a bunch of numbers that really.
You've got the COVID money there. You can use it it's for
We're choosing not to
it's
use
for,
it.
it's for payroll. It's for infrastructure projects.
We're going to choose
So it
to
falls
hold
in.
on to it for an election year. Is basically what was said.
Councilman Hutchinson said that he would rather use it next year, which was then brought up by Ray Palladoro.
Ray
that
Palladoro, yes.
It's an election year, so that's a common theme.
It's an easy way to keep taxes
a
at their current. What does he call it? It's not so much it's a habit now. He calls it. It's not a pattern. It's a habit.
It has been
So
since they've
now
been.
their habit has said, okay, election year, we're going to keep taxes flat, and we're going to use this $3.6 million COVID money to do that.
So next year, it is. It's more than guaranteed. There's not going to be a tax
there's no
increase
question about it.
next year at all. We have $3.6 million. It's an election year. They're definitely not going to raise taxes next year. The following year, if the elections don't go our way or anybody's way, and it goes their way, you're going to see a tax increase in 2024.
Yeah,
No doubt, absolutely.
that's just how it works.
It's
If you guys haven't caught on to the
how it
pattern,
works, and
that's how it
nobody's
goes.
caught on to it except
Everyone.
everyone's gotten it, but
I think everyone's caught on, but nobody goes out and votes actually to.
it hasn't
change that.
fired people up enough until they're
Right. Yeah.
until they're homeless, I guess, and trying to figure out how to afford their taxes every year.
Yeah.
But so that's what that is, and we brought up last week. We talked, or 2 weeks ago, we talked about Brittany Woods.
Yep.
And the final question that came up in Brittany Woods was, does that project qualify for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund?
Right. Well, last week we played a clip around it, and it was an eGov question, which we informed everyone what an eGov thing is, where you're able to actually go onto the website ahead of time, submit a question ahead of time. So the question was put out that, is this project eligible? And the word eligible was the key word in that sentence.
Yes.
Is it eligible for spending the Affordable Housing Trust Fund money on that project? And the question was avoided, and a different question was answered. So we played a clip of that, and then that same question was asked again at this last meeting through an eGov again, saying that I didn't get the answer to my question because you answered a different question, saying that no funds have been allocated towards it, which is not what the word that they were looking to, focus on. Allocation versus eligible are two different things, and it was not answered. So the answer back, and I wish we had a clip. We didn't pull the clip of this here, but the answer back, trust me, you can go back and look if you wanted to, but their answer was, we feel that we answered that sufficiently, so we're not going to answer your question. So it was avoided again a second time. But then we had someone named Ray Palladoro went up during the public portion and asked in person. So it wasn't an eGov question that is read by a council member and then or the council president, and then just dismissed as, sorry, that's it, and no rebuttal back. So during the public portion, someone asked the question and said, that question that was asked wasn't actually answered. What is the answer to it? So what was, I don't even remember, I think it was
Yeah, so
given as a, we could get back to
there was,
Ray
there was
on
a bit
that.
of a pause, and then it was all
Yeah.
right. There's no way the way that Ray
we can't avoid this any longer.
the way
We
that
have to
Ray
answer
structured
this.
that question, there was no going around it. It was a question that is going to have to be answered,
At some
hopefully
Yeah.
on Monday. So
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
an interesting.
we'll give you a recap, or just come out too. We really want people to come out and just kind of
Yeah, if you can't come out, watch it online at least. Check our videos for recaps.
Sit
While
with
we're
us.
talking about, subscribe to our channel, please. I think we only have like 40,000 followers right now. We need a little bit more.
yes, it's like 4. Yeah, we got like 4.
4. I remember 4.
There's a 4 in there somewhere.
But-
So yeah, that's pretty much, and that's kind of really what went down.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. It was a very quick, fairly brief meeting. Not too much information that went on, but
No, it was a fairly quick meeting. So we got out of there, and we were able to make the Skeeters after
yeah, we just go to Skeeters and
debrief. So it's
say hello to each other, because we kind of all just show up after work and It's just a
it's a
camaraderie
regularly
thing.
scheduled thing now. It's council meetings at 7:30, and then when that ends, we kind of just go to Skeeter's and talk about what
It really
went down.
it really is an interesting time too, because I don't catch everything that happens in there. I mean, I pay attention, but I don't pay attention to certain things. And say Joe or another person brings up, "Hey, did you hear so and so said such and such?" And you're like, "Yeah, I did hear that, but I didn't even put that into context." And so it's a really good time to understand what just happened. Like you go in there sometimes and it's like a whirlwind. You have no idea what happened, especially if you don't understand the process and the words that are used and manipulated. And just like we were talking before about, like Mr. Carlemere, the attorney, using particular words and saying things at a certain time, and if you put it into context of time of when they said things, yes, it's answered correctly, even though that they answered it that because you thought it was a lie. Well, they didn't lie. They literally said it a different way at a different timing and put it in a different perspective. And that's the kind of stuff that you pick up on. And, you talk to people and you're like, wow, I never even realized that. It's just like, listening to the two of us sitting here, telling you guys things. But
there's been so many times that I've, on Monday, I'm at work and I'll bring up the website and I'll check out the agenda for today. And I'll scroll through it and I'll think, oh man, this is like 15-minute meeting.
Yeah.
And then that meeting goes on for 2 hours because there was a topic in there that I scrolled past and thought not a big deal, but then when one person brought a question up about it, it was like it sparked interest in a lot of different people that were in the audience, and then a discussion started, and then it was kind of, even if you didn't have
and this goes
full
to
clarification afterwards, like you went to Skeeter's afterwards, and you got the whole ordeal.
Yeah, and this goes to the whole point of what we were originally starting this whole podcast off with saying is you have no idea how long that topic's going to take, because what looks like a 15-minute agenda could turn into a 3-hour ordeal when you actually sit there and listen to what people have to say about it or what their opinion is about it. And there's a lot of stones to unturn and questions to ask, and sometimes they don't like being asked. But
it is, and it's great. It's great the more people that come out too, because there's just
different perspectives.
There's different perspectives, and it's great when some of the new people come out, because then they've got a whole new take on things, and they kind of need some explaining. So I don't know. I enjoy it. I don't. Sometimes I look at it on the calendar. I'm like, oh man,
you dread it.
That's my night. And then at the end of the night, I'm like, you know what? That was a decent meeting.
Yeah.
But we will.
I like it just to learn. I mean, just to learn how the whole process works and all that stuff. It's it's interesting to see, like you said, like new people that come along. A lot of people don't understand that there's the processes that have to take place, and that's kind of part of it. It's and when people complain, oh, this is happening here, and you're like, yeah, you can't really complain about that because of X, Y, and Z, or whatever the case is. But there are things that you can complain about and do things about it, or try to do things about. And if you don't like how it's handled, you can vote a different way.
When I decided to run for council back in, for the 2021 year, but back in 2020, I think I joined. I may have been a member from 2019 or sometime in 2020, but I decided to join all those township talk groups to kind of see what was going on.
The Facebook groups you're talking about?
Yeah, the Facebook groups.
Okay.
And even some of the discussions that were on like nextdoor.com, and there's a lot of people that complain about a lot of different things, but I never see them at council meetings. And that's honestly, there's not a whole lot of, we've said a lot of stuff falls on deaf ears.
Yeah. I mean, so it's understandable if people don't show up because of how the actions.
But there's 100% chance that it's never going to get addressed.
Oh yeah, if you give
just
up,
post on
there's
Facebook,
100% chance you're not going to win that.
If it's just on Facebook, it's 100%. It's never going to get talked about.
Yeah.
Unless one of us sees it on Facebook and decides to bring it up. So show up, bring it up, and that's the only thing. I forget what the last thing. I think it was probably. I think trash. Like people were over the last couple of weeks. People have been just out of their mind about trash. Temperatures have been horrible. It's not.
Yeah, times we live in, it's you know,
I
there's
kinda
a
get
lot
it.
of problems, and
If my can's out there for a day or two extra, I don't lose my mind. But a lot of people have been. A lot of people apparently have been missing their trash for like several weeks. They've been out.
oh yeah,
So
I
that's-
literally had 3 weeks in a row with no trash pickup. I didn't flip out about it, but I thought to myself, hey, if this goes one more week, I might just
know what?
drop it off at the at
3
the
weeks?
township building.
Yeah.
Literally 3 weeks with no pickup. It sat outside for 3 weeks.
I own one can. I mean, if I go past, there's just two of us that live here. If it goes past that, then my trash is starting to pile up on the curb, and then at some point I got to go to council meeting and I got to ask. So I would think at like 3 weeks, folks, that's when you show up and just ask, hey, what's going on with trash, man? It's because they don't know. They have no idea because their trash is probably getting picked up. So that's when you go and ask. And you know what? You could ask, and they'll answer your question, and then go back and sit back. And then when the meeting's over,
Meet your neighbors.
there's a ton of us. There's a ton of
Meet
us
your
back there.
neighbors.
There's a ton of us back there. Just come in and just come chat with us. If you got time, come out with us afterwards. We'll do the debrief. But
Speaking of meet your neighbors, just in the middle of all this talk here, tomorrow night, which is August 2nd, is going to be the night out, which is basically meet your neighbors kind of thing. So we have a guy that goes to all the meetings. That's a really big advocate for downtown Blackwood. Paul Krug is kind of coordinating the State Street Park night. I think it's called National Night Out. Is that what it's called? The
It is,
official
yeah.
name of it? All right, yeah. So National Night Out. Paul is organizing that down at State Street Park. So come out and meet your neighbors. I think there's other areas too. I think there's 3 or 4 locations throughout Gloucester Township that go meet your neighbors and go out and talk.
you gonna check out Paul's thing, or
Me personally, I have other obligations.
you got other obligations? I got the
Concerts in
invite from
town.
Paul.
I have,
That's right. You do
not gonna
concerts too.
Yeah.
So not just for fun, for work.
I have. Yes,
So yes,
unfortunately,
I
it's
will.
my career.
I'm gonna try to make it down to Paul's thing. There's a few people I know that are gonna be down there, so I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah.
And then I think next year we're actually gonna invite some. We're actually gonna organize something on our street now because
There you go. Look at that.
So,
You have a block party or some sort.
so
National
yeah,
Night Out.
that's coming up next. But the next big topic that we wanted to talk about was the Gloucester Township Board of Elections, Board of Education.
Board of Education. Yeah.
Board of
So
Education.
petitions were due. I believe it was last week when the after the council meeting. I think it was the following day or
Yes.
something like that. There was the petitions were due. So anybody that would like to run for Board of Education, they were due, and there was 12 people that submitted their petitions for 3 open seats. So this has been an area that there's 12 people.
12 is kind of a that was a shocker. It was kind of a shocker, but at the same time,
During the mayoral, is that what it's called? Governor election? Yeah, the governor and mayoral election, there was 9 running for the Gloucester Township, and I believe it was 5 for the regional.
yeah,
This year here, for our Gloucester Township Board of Education, there's 12. We've seen this before. We could put links in the comments to articles that have been written about phantom candidates. And phantom candidates are people that are just names put onto the ballot to draw votes away from legitimate candidates.
yeah. So if you've been around for previous elections, you'll see the mayor / Democratic committee folks. They're on the trucks. They're on the big signs.
Yeah.
They've got all the money and the marketing behind them.
Yep.
And they've also got a set amount of voters that are going to come out for them. So they know what they have. And if they have 3 people that are up for re-election, what they'll do, and if they have 3 challengers that'll come up there, they'll just add more people.
Right. More
So
people dilute the vote. So
Yeah, because some people are going to look at it and they're going to say, "Oh, I know those guys. They were on there before. They're kind of part of the machine.
right.
I want to vote for somebody that's not part of the machine." So what they'll do is they'll fill the ballot with other names. And it's a Camden County thing. It's a Gloucester Township thing.
Yep.
It is. Yeah, look
Yeah,
up.
go on Google. If you don't
Camden
believe the
County
link
fan
that we sent you,
candidates.
like Philadelphia Inquirer has articles on Gloucester Township
Yes.
and Camden County running phantom candidates. This is not something new. This is a playbook, thing that they do every time. So, we have candidates. There was 12 candidates that were on the announcement of people who are running for Board of Education, and some of them include, I don't know.
We kind of started looking through some of them. So, to start off with, we've got some new names.
Now,
that
to preference this, some of this could be not true because we don't 100% know. This is from what we can find online, Googling. We don't know 100,000% that this is true, but for the most part, you can verify all of this yourself and come to the same conclusions that we're, doing too. I'm not trying to get any kind of,
Well, when you see a name come up, and if you're familiar with, so we've talked to a few people. I know you go to meetings all the time for Board of
Education,
Ed, and you and a few other people that I've talked to go to meetings. So when names pop up, and all of a sudden someone has interest in becoming part of that, the first question you would ask is, where do they come from?
Where did this person come
because
from?
I've never seen these people at our meetings before.
Right.
So, so that's the first. That's kind of the first people we want to talk about. So the first name on the list.
These are some of the ones that you might call phantom, candidates.
Yeah.
As
folks
connected, somebody that may have run just because. Yeah, you can use my name. You can have my name, and if I win, I will go and I will vote yes every single time, just like you want me to. They're just yes men, right?
So, and what I would say is that every single person of this 12-person list is invited here.
Yep.
If you
Absolutely.
want to sit down and tell us who you are, we will
tell us why you want to run.
Yeah, we'll gladly talk to you. So this goes for
anything you want.
Every single candidate on there. There is, if we have to formulate questions for each candidate, I will send questions out to all 12 candidates ahead of time so they know exactly what they're going to talk about when they get here.
Yep.
I mean, no surprises, no difference in interview for any person. So if you are interested,
if you want your manager to send us things we can't talk about, you can do that too. Like, well, let's.
We're not doing that.
Everyone is invited to come and talk.
We are going to be honest. So the first guy on the list is John Austin, who.
John is a neighbor of Dan Long, who, if you are not familiar, is the attorney for the school board. So if you ever attended a school board meeting and you heard someone ask a question, the person that answered, that's who Dan Long is. He's the attorney. So our elected board members don't actually answer questions. It all goes through the attorney.
And
for some reason, I don't know. We didn't elect an attorney, but that's who will answer questions.
That's
by design.
He's got some history too. I guess he ran in 2014 and 2016.
He did. He was also. I don't know if they were phantom candidates, but I would assume. Hey, there's a name that will do it, and he's my neighbor or whatever it is, and okay, this guy's gonna kind of run. Maybe he has good intentions. I don't know.
If
but
you want to fill the ballot, you just go to your neighbor and say, "Hey, just sign here," and I'll get all my buddies to sign it, and then we're good.
Yep.
So. I don't know that John's got any student. I don't know if he's got any kids in the system.
I'm
not sure about that.
So I could be speaking out of turn here, but I don't believe any of the candidates that we're going to put in the first portion here have any kids in the school. So what interest? I'm not sure. I don't know what interest they have. Other than, hey, there's other things that you are doing that maybe we can have you do the school board, and we can continue to keep you employed or keep you, whatever the case may be.
Something like $127 million in the school board budget, so it's a lot of money.
It's a little more than that, but yeah.
It could be more than it's more than that, so it's a lot of money. I mean,
most of the tax dollars that you pay for your property, whether you say, I pay $12,000 in taxes, more than half of that goes to the school.
Yeah. So the next person on the list is Jarod Thomas. Actions there, so don't know if he has any children in the school system either. So
never seen him at a meeting. I don't know. Maybe there's some reason.
Maybe. Next up on the list is.
But maybe if he comes in, we could talk to him about it. Maybe.
Yeah. If Jarod wants to come out, we can. I can definitely send him the address, and he can.
Yeah.
come hang out in the dungeon here and talk.
The brick walls. You guys see the brick walls? These are amazing.
Brick walls, curtains. We got all kinds of stuff now.
These guys out there laying bricks. It was amazing. The trowels that they're
moving
putting
up.
down
I
to lay
spent
these things.
all weekend. It's just crazy.
It's nuts.
But,
Yeah, we have Melissa Traeger is another
Yeah.
one that we have on here. And
So
Melissa, I'm not 100% sure on this. I don't know if she's married to. She somehow is related to Ken Traeger, who was on the zoning board for the township. And she was also the treasurer of the PAC in 2014 that raised $193,000 for the mayor's election. Her mom, I believe, also is the senior clerk for GT, and her father was on the housing authority when some of that. So I don't know if you guys remember any of that stuff with the transfer of land and everything going on, but I believe he was on at that point in time too. And that, so there's just a lot of connections in that name there. I don't know. Maybe she has good reasons for coming out, but that could be one of the reasons that name is on there. I don't know.
That's a question.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of
spider
connections.
web on that
There's
one.
a lot of connections there. You just kind of want parents to step up, really.
Yeah.
It's their kids. I mean, that's what you want. You want parents to step up. So
Well, the school board is supposed to be a bridge between, the teachers, the parents, and kind of, the whole thing is. But if you don't have any kids in there, I'm not sure what you're bridging. It's
yeah,
either way.
yeah,
That's a
there
whole
was
other topic, I guess.
it was a
It's
topic.
still the same topic, I guess. Really.
Well, it was a topic that came up actually when in 2020 when we were kind of prepping for the 2021 election, and a couple people said, "Well, hey, why don't you just jump? Why don't you just run in and run for school board?" And I don't have any kids in the system,
Right,
so
you don't have no reason to.
my interest is basically just in the financials of it, and what do I know about what the children's needs are and what the teachers' needs are. So it wasn't that's why I went for council and not for that. So next on the list is James Wintrode.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but yeah, I know he was the engineer on the most recent Marksman landscaping and transport, whatever the heck it's called, the transportation thing. It was on Aerial Road. And I believe it was CES as the I'm not 100%
engineer
sure
for, I guess,
but
one
it's the
of
engineer. It was an engineer that's a pay-to-play vendor in the township, and there's connections there as well. Marksman, if you know, is also Marksman,
also
president of the school board. So I'm sure there's some connection. I highly doubt it's a coincidence. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Man, it seems
There's a lot of coincidences in this town if that is the case.
It seems like money is dominating the.
Oh, so you think if you follow the money, there's... Okay.
Man,
you might be a conspiracy theorist, my friend. I don't know,
Look,
but you might be.
I don't have kids in the system, but it just bothers me that it is all focused on money in there, and
It has a bigger budget than our township has. I mean, as far as the municipal budget.
Yeah, I don't know. Where's the interest?
It's a lot of money.
The interest doesn't seem to be with the kids. I want parents in there. That's just.
Oh, it's there's teachers, support staff. I've spoken recently to support staff that's been there for about to retire. They're like 23 years into the to the thing, and there's people that are just coming in making almost as much money that they're making, and there's unions and things like that are involved too, but it's a very deep discussion, but it's still.
We got to get the teachers what they need, and we've got to get so
teachers are bringing their own supplies to school.
So the next person on the list is Deanna Cannon.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to say the name, but yeah, her husband though we believe is he's one of the managers or somehow runs the Gloucester Township Municipal. What is it? MUA.
MUA, yeah.
Utilities? Is it Municipal Utilities Authority?
Yes.
Is that what that stands for? Okay. We know that she's best friends with the person that runs the senior center, which is where the lake is on. Is that Hyder Lane? Is that what that's called? That connects the.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the name of that road is, but
Yeah, right down by the lake, the senior center. She's very good friends with her.
There's definitely
Who's
connections. I
Yeah.
don't know, and maybe that person just has a big interest in.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's no
Schools?
children in school. I haven't seen her at any meetings that I know of, but maybe she is. I don't know. We have Nancy Fritz, too, who is probably the closest to the mayor that we could get as far as her son is Alex Fritz. If you've ever watched what do they call it? GT?
Oh yeah, he's got a better podcast than we do. Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's the
The production. We got to touch our own buttons and stuff. He's
yeah,
got people
we
to
got
touch
to do
them.
our own stuff here. He's
Yeah. He's got a whole staff, and he's only like
he's out on
Very
location. He's doing.
on location. I did see that one too.
He's the propaganda guy. So
the mayor's assistant, to some degree, works in the mayor's office. His mother is running for Board of Education. So
he's out of school. Maybe he's got some younger siblings. And
as far as I know,
no,
he does
okay.
not. But
I try to look at the positive side, but maybe not.
could have been. But we do have some that do have, that are running again, because there are 3 seats that are up for election this year. 1 seat is not rerunning, as far as I can tell, and I mean, her name is not on the ballot, but Victoria Smith is not running.
Yep.
I think Smith is her last
Yep.
name, but she's not running. Jennifer O'Donnell and Elliott Wilson are two, I guess it's called incumbents to that.
Yeah.
Is that still a term? for
So
that?
we know we know Jen personally. Jen
I do know
asks,
Jen personally. Yes.
Jen asks a lot of questions to meetings, so she has, she's kind of been there. She's one of the few people. There's a few people on the current committee that ask questions.
Yeah, the anti-machine-ish type, that ask
Yeah.
questions,
When
want to know answers, vote no against things when they're not supposed to vote no because it should have gone through with the amount of votes that are on there, and that's where they are. They're the opposition to some of the things that go through that are money driven that we were speaking of before, and also policy and things like that.
Yeah, so Jen's daughter just graduated.
Yep.
So she is. She was when Jen started on the Board of Education. She had a daughter in the system.
Yep.
And she's just considered to continue that
Right.
on. So
Well,
Yes.
she's continuing it on from what I believe, and I haven't verified this with her, but I know from last election that it was a very close call to almost overturn power to put it back to the people instead of to the machine. And now I feel like because we had one new person that was voted onto the board last year that wasn't a machine candidate, she feels very encouraged that she could still stick around, make a difference in that, hopefully in this election here. And even if she doesn't have a kid in there, I know for sure Jen has the best interests of all residents and parents in mind, for this election here.
yeah. So and then next up is Matthew Elliott Wilson, who's running for re-election. Also, he is he's one of the mayor candidates.
Yeah, I believe he's a Democratic committee member as well. I do have to say though, I have witnessed Elliott vote against things that he does not believe in, which are probably things he shouldn't have, and maybe got a slap on the wrist. But I have to give him credit. Elliott does vote with his conscience and vote that way. However, he is committed to the mayor. I believe in a certain way. There are certain things he says at meetings that kind of go against parents, that kind of set people off in certain ways. But I do defend that he will, I believe, vote with his conscience a lot of times on things. And I mean, whatever.
Sometimes you just want a person with their own opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's what I respect about the man. That's why I want to say it. I've not just seen a yes. Whether I disagree with you or agree with you, I still respect that you're gonna voice your opinion about something, and especially if it goes against what I know and what other people maybe perceive as what you are. Elliott does speak his opinion, and that to me, I have a lot of respect for that. I might not agree with other things or whatever else it is, but either way, enough.
And that's been, I mean, that's been the argument for it.
Right. That's all we've been talking about.
Every single
just
elected official is just look.
That's why you're there, to voice your opinion.
I don't need 7 people on council to agree with me.
Right.
If one agrees with me, I feel represented. But none of them agree with me, and I'm not crazy. So I just want somebody.
You don't know that you're not.
Well,
we haven't told you yet. You're crazy.
I could be, yeah. But yeah, I just that's what you want. You want somebody that has their own opinions.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, when the signs come out for the candidates, you know, the signs are all over the township that don't get pulled out.
Oh, well, listen, I believe I'm 100% sure that he gets money from.
He's gonna be
from the Democratic Committee and from the from that party. If you look at his elect forms, but that aside, I still have to give the guy credit.
He's gonna be backed by that money. The next guy running is Philip Desian.
Well, so the rest of the candidates are not incumbents and not what we believe to be phantom candidates, is what we're terming them, because that's what the
these are kind of people that we looked into and we didn't find any connections, or we knew somebody that knew somebody that was able to tell us somebody about them. So Philip Desian is
from what I know, he is friends with a woman named Terry Fretz, who is all about the school board. If you are involved with schools at all, you know Terry, and her life's mission is taking care of these kids and school board, looking into things. And he's I don't know if I want to categorize that as a friend, but he's somebody that she knows. I believe he's an older gentleman with no kids in the school system, but he's completely against what he sees as the machine politics in school and wants to run against it. So that's what I know about the man. I don't know if you know anything more, but
no, that's admirable. I mean, I've made the mistake of just saying something incorrect.
Oh, I'm sure I said something incorrect. If I did, folks, I apologize.
I've always been straightened out by Terry, who has.
Who Terry will definitely. I'm sure I'm going to get straightened out too.
If we say anything wrong, Terry will definitely comment and let us know. And look, we respect people like that are their sole mission is to look out for the kids in this township. So
I wish everyone in the town had a sole mission of something to help someone.
Yeah.
Terry's one of those people that, I mean, it's animals and rescue animals and school board. Then Terry's an awesome human being. So
I didn't know about the animals thing. That is awesome.
She's all about it.
Next on the list is Dina Hendry.
Yeah, so Dina is the co-vice president of Choose Elementary,
FSA for Choose Elementary. So
and Dina is at almost any Board of Education meeting you go to. Dina is there, and not just there. She gets up and speaks and asks a question almost every time, and she always has something on her mind. Her kids, other people's kids, everything is front and center with her. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter if you need money for this, that, or the other thing. It's the schools, the teachers, that she's there for the right reasons. And almost every meeting, she started to come out to council meetings and whatnot, because I guess she felt she wasn't actually a resident, because she didn't own a home, but she recently purchased a home in town instead of renting, and now she's getting even more involved. And I mean, I commend that. That's very admirable that she comes out and spends her personal time to come and learn and better her neighborhood, her community environment.
She is, I mean, she's with you over at those meetings, and then leaves there.
Yeah,
and then comes to council meetings afterwards. And if you're not familiar with Dina did the interviews last year.
She did. She ran for the last few years. She ran like the Zoom call. So our town does not have an official meet the candidates board like some other towns. You go to Cherry Hill, anyone that's running for school board, there's an entire organized thing that you can go and residents can ask those candidates questions. Our town doesn't have that. You can answer why. I don't.
So
I'm not going to say why. You can figure out why, but there's nothing like that done. So Dina would run those because her children are in there, her friends' children are in there, and she cares about the school district. So, it's not an easy task too. She's going out on her own time, trying to reach out to each one of these people, doing open requests to find out their email address, to get a hold of them, to invite them, to have a response and not get a response, and it's a whole thing. And she did a great job of doing it.
Last year, she sent invites to every single Board of Education candidate.
She also did it for council, but that's a whole other topic.
She interviewed everybody that wasn't a mayor candidate that showed up, because she sent invites out to everyone, and then all the independent folks showed up. They did interviews.
Yeah.
And then she did a council.
Yeah.
So she did question and answers. We did it in my dining room when Dina interviewed Sam and I in my dining room, and we had I think we had Dawn Sabella. She was remote, but we did Zoom calls, and then.
Well, yeah, she coordinated the whole thing, and it's just
2 months later.
Very admirable.
2 months later, she reached out to all the council and mayor candidates again, and decided to do it again. So she asked more questions, and she asked all the people on all the township talk pages, send me your questions, and I'll ask them. So she organized it all on her own, which was outstanding. I mean, just you think of somebody that steps up and does.
Not the bare minimum. Goes over and above.
She's great, and so I'm excited that she's on there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see her name on there. Yeah,
I jumped at the fact to go and sign her petition, because she's definitely somebody that I believe in, that is just has the best interest for the township. So next person is Gabrielle Mielis.
Yeah, Gabby is another one. She is another vice president of a PTA. She's in what's it called, Glendora. I don't know.
Okay.
And she has kids in the district. She's always at Board of Education meetings, just like Dina. She's another one, and that's really interested in her kids, interested in the teachers, and it's a really another good candidate that I know of. There's no other connections that I know of for that.
No, she stopped out at one of the social nights out of Valari's, and just kind of she had questions about running, wanted to find out what it took. It's one of those things we've kind of talked about before.
So you're right. Yeah, she did have questions. Now you're bringing it up, that it was around, could you still be a PTA?
Yeah.
VP and run for board, or are they two separate things? And it's an elected position versus something else. It's not. Yeah. You could do both. Basically,
she came out and talked about
once
her children.
She found out she was able to do both, she was all on board and said, "Yeah, I'm going to run because I need to make a difference. I need to help kids, the students, the teachers." Yeah. It's
She came out, talked about her children, and then I think everybody that was in the group kind of sent her in the right direction on where to get all the information, and glad to see she's running also.
Yeah. And
then our final person on the list is Mr.
me.
Keith Gibbons. So father, single father.
Yep.
Single parent, and
my daughter's in C.W. Lewis. So she's going to the 7th grade. So I did run, in the past, 10 Board of Education meetings, talk to all kinds of teachers. There's a few of them, that I work with outside of their teaching jobs, and I have a good connection with a lot of them, and have my finger on the pulse and what's going on in their school system and their gripes and needs. I also know a lot of the players in town from attending also council meetings. So yeah, that's me. I hate talking about me. So
it is it's a tough, thankless spot to go for. I mean, it's when my team walked around the town talking to people, a lot of people wanted to talk about the schools. Mm-hmm. And the topics were all over the place, and I thought, man, I'm glad I'm not part of that. Like, I'm glad I'm glad I'm running for something that's kind of just more on the boring side of things than the really super controversial, like, Board of Ed stuff. And and my thought was, man, the people that are going for these things, these are good-hearted people that just want to make. Some of them. Now, the first group of people that we talked about, they're just names that are on there to take away from folks like some of the last people that we just talked about.
Yeah.
But it is just, I mean, you know, I've known you now for a couple of years, and I know that it's. I mean,
guys, I have a genuine.
Yeah.
You know, I love kids, and I think that there's a good place I could be in there, you know, in that system, making decisions for people. But it was really tough. The last election of people had really strong opinions about, you know, different topics, and I definitely am one that I can hear both sides of an argument. But there were, like you said, like they were people that were, I mean, they would literally murder you, I think, if you answered incorrectly, you know.
Man,
like
yeah.
It was really tough.
As a council candidate and walking with Sam, people were hammering on us about school topics. Yep. And it was like, and we try to explain to them, this isn't something you want your mayor or council to control.
Right.
This is something you want your school board to control.
Exactly. That's what should be. Parents.
People were really passionate about it.
Yeah,
but it is.
But that's how it is right now, though, and that's what we were kind of going over. Is it is controlled by the machine, and the machine is our politicians. Our politicians should not be in our schools. That's bottom line. They shouldn't be in there, and that's what it is.
That brings up a great topic too, is that we talked to some of these folks. You know, we mentioned that Gabby came out to one of the social events,
right?
And the social events are run by like the Republican Party, and the not the Republican Party, but the Republican
people
club.
Who are Republicans.
It's kind of a social club. It's not really, you don't have to be Republican to come out and just hang out and talk about politics.
They're the opposition party, so that's who basically.
It's an opposition party thing. But it's also it's an educational thing to where somebody like Dina and Gabby can talk about their interest, and where their interest stops is where they don't know where to move further. They've got people like me and you, Sam, Joe, Ray Henry, all those people that have run before. They can say, this is the process and this is how you do it. So it was kind of great when these people came out and they asked the questions.
Yeah.
But then the thought was, do we want to grab candidates that are political candidates, or do we just or what's the best way? And it was kind of great because everybody that wanted to run,
oh yeah, no, it's a mixed bag.
In opposition said, no, I don't want to be affiliated with any party. I'm just a parent. And I have an interest in children.
I had one of the growing up, I learned my lessons, just like all of us. But it was always taught to me that you learn from your mistakes. You can make mistakes. There were things in the past that I didn't know. I listened to other people because I knew nothing about running. It was just like I want to step in and help. How can I help? And what I learned, I help try to pass on to other people, and they can learn, from my mistakes as well. I don't know that I have the right answer. To other people that I listen to, I don't know if they have the right answer. They obviously didn't win, but they learned something along the way, so I have to be able to take something from that. And that's what I think what you're saying here is, we're just telling, this is what we learned along the way, and hopefully you can take it and run, further with it. Maybe you can get elected and make the difference that you want to make.
And I think it was good. It was the outcome of a couple of people coming out and asking questions about saying that they wanted to run, they needed to know how to run, but they didn't wind up being politically affiliated.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're trying to get away from.
Yeah.
We're trying to get away from, when you and I sat out in the parking lot last election, handing out handing out.
Yeah, I was running for school board. You were running for council, and we were together at the polling places, and it was amazing.
We were the independent guys that I think we were outside in the rain for like 13 hours. The independent guys who dealt with, the trucks with the billboards on them that had the other school board candidates on them, you know, that had all the money behind them, and it's just
like see this wall here. You couldn't even see like one part of one letter of like how big the whole. Hey, vote for me! Like right behind you. And you're like, oh, here I'm the guy. I have a piece of paper I wrote in crayon on because that's what I can afford to give you as.
Yeah.
This is, but I'm running. I'm genuine. That's the one that has the money that just got from donors.
So yeah,
that's supposed to not be political, but somehow, I mean,
it's
them.
It's definitely political, and the thought was,
and an army of people handing out literature outside of the regulations of where they're allowed to be to pull. It's a whole, folks. If you've never done this before, you have no idea. It's nuts. The
person on that team, I don't remember her name now, but she had 5 people with her.
Yeah,
and
good person. I mean, nothing wrong with her.
She was nice.
The nicest person. I don't know, the nicest person ever, but she
talked to us quite a bit, but. She had 5 people with her just handing out.
On payroll.
If you got out of your car in that parking lot, you were swarmed by her as to where Keith
with a
and I were
glossy flyer.
We're just standing there handing out basically business cards that we, that.
Yeah. I print them on my printer. You might go to Vista Print.
I think we went to like Vista Print and we got some business cards, but we had no money, but we had an interest, just a genuine interest in the township. Yeah. So that's it. I mean, that's your candidates. Hopefully, some of these candidates. You guys
can do your own research. The list is available online. You can look the names up yourselves.
So yeah, the challenge is out there. If you are on that list and you are running, we would love to talk to you.
Come in and tell us what we said that was incorrect. I'd love to be corrected on air.
If we said anything incorrect, let us know. We will clear it up. But if you want to sit down and talk to us. We would love to give you kind of some airtime, really.
Yeah.
Talk about what your interests are, why you're doing this, and whatever about you you want people to know. So it's out there. Reach out to us. We will definitely come. We'll definitely set up some time and talk to you. Even if it's just me or just you or whatever.
Yeah, maybe I'll even buy more cameras and we'll spread the thing out and make it bigger for you. So
I got more building to do down here, then, so we'll just keep making it bigger.
Hell, I'll have a place that we can all go. If everyone wants to come at the same time, we'll even entertain that whole thing. We have a space we can fit everybody in.
Yeah, we do.
Come out.
We do.
Come out and do it.
Sofas. We got.
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever. So finally, to kind of finally. One of the last things that came up, and it just came across Facebook, I think today, was a few weeks ago, we learned about it's Ariel Williamstown Road.
Yeah, Hickstown Road, I believe, right?
No, Ariel Williamstown Road
is. Okay.
There's one there too, potentially.
Okay.
But so if you know where the Target is in Gloucester Township, it's on Cross Keys Road. The road that intersects it is Ariel Williamstown Road. And we found out that there's a proposal for a 48-bay warehouse.
Hey, we talked about this last time, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was a shipping center. I saw a petition come across Facebook today for it. I saw Sam Sweet shared out the petition to stop this warehouse. So you've got a couple different kinds of people in the township. You've got the land preservation folks, and then you've got the other folks that are kind of they're pro-business. I think kind of in the middle. So I want business, but I don't know that I necessarily want a warehouse and all the traffic that's involved. I mean, I would imagine that trucks are going to be coming in, they're going to be loading up, and they're going to go back out. And I can only think that they basically have two routes from there. One being Sicklerville Road, and the other being Cross Keys Road to the Atlantic City Expressway. Both roads are pretty. I hate traveling on both roads because they're both pretty much stacked up.
You go anywhere in New Jersey, it's crowded anymore. You can go anywhere; it doesn't matter.
But they are they're kind of equally they're not great roads to travel on. But it's if at least in this area.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you. Name a great road to travel on.
I don't know.
All right, perfect. There we go.
I don't know.
There's
yeah,
one.
I mean, I am. I'm currently over in the Sicklerville side, kind of right behind Ariel, and so my roads out of here are basically I can go to Sicklerville Road to go to the Pike, or I can go the other way to go to Cross Keys Road. So this warehouse is kind of
On both.
it's gonna affect both ways, and
Yeah.
a lot of people are kind of they're a little bit bent out of shape about it. On the other hand, I like that there's more businesses coming in.
Yeah.
But my view on Gloucester Township has always been, let's make it a destination. So let's make it
Right, not a
someplace-
destination for 18-wheelers. Let's make it a destination for
Yeah,
people coming for entertainment or food or something along those lines.
Think
Arts.
of the places that when I go on a Saturday night or like on a Wednesday night or something like that, when I want to go out, to go somewhere, spend a couple hours, to go out to eat or something like that. Most of the time, I wind up going outside of Gloucester Township.
Yeah, when you go out, you mean go out of Gloucester Township, not out.
I mean, just
out.
like if I want to go, if I'm, if the wife and I are looking for dinner, it's just we wind up going outside of Gloucester Township.
Yeah.
And I would love to have people coming into Gloucester Township for something.
Yeah.
So I would love to see, that location where that is, where that warehouse is going to be. So it's kind of, if you're leaving Target onto Williamstown Area Road, there's a field off to the right, and where that field is, on one side of it is brand new townhomes. And then across the street, where the old Nike base was, there's brand new single-family homes. So it's kind of right in between. It would be a good location, really, it'd be great for a restaurant.
But so, I don't disagree with you, but here's where I struggle with this argument that people have is if the land was already zoned for what that is, and there's nothing that the people aren't asking for variances or anything else.
Yeah.
You can't stop progress from happening. Progress is a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I know they might not like it. It might not be ideal. You might have paid $350,000 for your townhome or whatever the case is. But this was what it was zoned for. You know what I mean? If you went into a different scenario, like there was and not to go into a whole topic here, but if you go like Little Pond, for instance, was highway commercial is what it was zoned for, and now it's being changed over to be, now it's going to be mixed use residential or whatever the use is there. That's different because you're changing the zoning to fit a need. This is somebody owns that land. That's if somebody says you own this piece of land here, you can't put what you want to put on it. Why can't I put it? I bought this piece of land 40 years ago with the intention of putting a warehouse here before those houses were put over there. So you can't, I mean, yeah, there's a certain point that you can't.
It is. Yeah.
It's a tough thing. It's one of those things. I understand all of everything you said about the traffic and all that other stuff, but there is something to be said for that. But in saying that doesn't discount it being wrong. You know what I mean? Like there's things that went into there because the way that our whole area in need of redevelopment and all that wording that we've talked about on other podcasts before of council becoming the redevelop and the redeveloping entity that can then create a redevelopment plan, which then assigns a redeveloper and all that, which then can override zoning. It's just all it's all horse crap. There's so much that goes into it that people don't realize. But when there is something that's like that piece of land there that they're not asking for variances, what can you say about it? I mean, in my opinion, you know what I mean? It's just, what can you say about it? It was already that. If it were residential and somebody just came in and said, hey, guess what? We're going to put a 48 bay, 250,000 square foot warehouse in, and it got approved, that's a whole nother topic. But if it's already zoned in one way, I kind of have a hard time arguing it. I might not like it, but I mean,
the people that just
me.
bought all those homes, they could have, if they did their research, been made aware of what potentially was going to grow across the street from them. You
might not think, oh yeah, that's great. There's woods. There's never anything going to go there, and then something does go there. you can't really fault somebody for that. It's no. If put yourself in that landowner's shoes, you would want to be able to do what you could do with your property as well. So that's my take anyway.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I might have just burned your whole thing down.
No, it's just it's a shame. I've talked about for years that I wish Gloucester Township was more of a destination. I thought that
warehouse isn't the only thing that could have gone in there. There's 1,000 things that could have happened there. It just so happens that one was an approved use that could have been something else.
I want something that brings people in.
Yeah.
I want something that brings people into the township, and I also want something that keeps the people in the township when they go out. And that's just, it's
not a warehouse.
I was disappointed. Yeah, I was disappointed with it being a warehouse. There's a petition out there to try to stop it.
I believe what's the Facebook page, just to give her a shout out? It's like no warehouse in Ariel or something along those lines.
Yeah, I saw it today, and I
can't think of it. I apologize.
It reminded me of a lot of people got fired up about the Super Wawa coming into Ariel, and they were gonna buy out a couple houses and the old bank on Ariel by the Rite Aid, and a couple people asked that there was a petition created for it. So Sam went and created a petition. We put the petition up on RestoreGT.com.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people sign up for it. We presented it, and they said, "Yeah, we don't care." So it's kind of
hold on. We gotta take this to the bathroom.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, I just
I've heard that with the online petitions and all that petition stuff. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't know. At the same time, one of the last things that was brought up at the last council meeting was that there's a potential for another warehouse. I don't know anything about this. I took notes when I was at the last council meeting that in between, so on Hickstown Road, you've got Peter Cheeseman Road and the dump right there. The old I forget what that dump's called now, but between the new football fields and the dump where the township firing range is, right in there. There's an empty spot there, and I guess a lot of people on that area on Hickstown Road, they got letters saying that they were kind of repurposing wetlands.
Yeah, there's a wetland, some sort of a restriction of wetlands there, and they were notified because is the ordinance? It's 200 feet or 100 feet within a project or something.
Yeah, there's a given area of space where they can.
Yeah, so they must have gotten letters saying, "Hey, this is being built within 200 feet of your property line," and they wanted to make sure that the township has their back in fighting whatever this particular thing is, because their part of their property is considered wetlands.
And two people showed up at the last meeting and they asked questions about it. No one on council knew anything about this project. Apparently they already started clearing some of the land. I guess they put some gas lines in, and there was rumors that it was also.
I don't know they put gas. I think they marked out gas lines.
They marked out gas lines.
Yeah, and that was the answer to but the gas company can come out and mark lines at any point in time. It doesn't cost
before
you
to
say,
dig.
Hey, it's one of those call before you dig things. Somebody can come out and that's part of surveys too. Like when you get a property surveyed, it's here and there, and clearing the land too. I mean, if I have land and I have trees on it or whatever else, I have a timber forest for my daughter. It's hey, I got to clear some stuff out here or whatever. There's clearing land is nothing. You don't need to get a permit or tell anybody you're doing it. So, but they've seen this over time and they think that something big is coming. So they're just concerned. We're putting it on the radar, just saying, hey, maybe you guys know something about it.
Somebody said there was a rumor that it was going to be a warehouse, but it's not confirmed. But it's just something else to keep an eye out for. I don't know.
Warehouses in New Jersey are an interesting thing. If you Google warehouse and land in New Jersey, it's somewhat of a hot topic. Like there's some towns like Lawnside, which is a pretty close one to us, that had a recent pretty big article written about that and ties to our political machines and things like that. But warehousing in New Jersey is a pretty hot topic. and we're getting some of them somehow. I don't know how this is happening.
I mean, a lot of them are in big open spaces. Like when you think about the one down, when you think about down 295, you've got like Swedesboro and stuff like that, and they've got the big Amazon warehouse down there.
Yeah,
where they're not really they're not thrown right into already heavily populated areas. So it's kind of
okay. Well, heavy populated area. So how do you know that wasn't all just trees and a woods of forest of some sort? Now where all those animals go and everything else. And that's the kind of stuff that people are saying, preserving land, like Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's no houses near there, but did you just displace, 6,000 animals from their homes? Or, I don't know. I don't think studies are needed to be done around wildlife in those, settings. But, hey, great, it wasn't near a $300,000 house, average residence, but they're still there. It's still a problem.
Those studies probably don't generate a whole lot of revenue. So
no, they probably stop revenue.
So that is that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for this episode.
Wow, we went an hour and like a couple minutes so far.
We keep doing it, so we're probably gonna
we're
gonna wind up on the 3 hours spot soon.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Like RestoreGT.com on like the Restore GT Facebook page, at RestoreGT on Twitter. What else we got going on? I don't think go to RestoreGT.com. There's some articles on there. Hasn't been a whole lot recently.
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot on there, but I mean,
kind of switched over to less writing and more just talking. So
yeah, let's just talk to you guys. And again, if you guys want to come on too, somebody come on and be our guest.
If you've got something important to say, you want to stop on.
Yeah.
It's
you own a business in town. You want to come promote your business? Come talk to us about it.
We talked about that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd like to talk about some of the new businesses in town too, and even some of the old businesses in town that maybe haven't gotten any love recently. So yeah, reach out. We'll talk. We'll talk to you.
You were just saying, you were telling me this morning about I forget, Blair Biscuit. What's the name of
Blair Mountain Biscuit
Blair
Company.
Mountain.
Mountain Biscuits. Since they started, there's this whole biscuits and gravy thing.
Yeah.
And I'm from Jersey, so I don't know a whole lot about biscuits and gravy, but I went down to, last year I went down I went to a wedding down in North Carolina, and it was everywhere.
Biscuits and gravy, okay.
Biscuits and gravy was everywhere down there, and
Yeah.
I thought, man, this is and I tried it and I thought, I need this.
Yeah.
And then there they were. And
I'm a breakfast person. I go every morning. I go to one of the either Lamppost or Meadows Diner. I'm at any morning. You can find me at one of them. Breakfast is one of the, I went there, and I do love their breakfast.
It is I believe it's the Early Bird, which is basically it's a stack of everything.
Everything. You get everything on it. Yeah.
It was amazing. So shout out to the guys at Blair Mountain. That was a fantastic breakfast. And the week before I stopped out at the Breakfast Nook on Cross Keys Road. I had never been there before. Heard a lot of buzz about it, and I thought, I'm gonna stop in and see if they're still around.
Right.
Basically, was the first thing I thought. And they're crowded. They're at least I go there on Sundays, and they're crowded every Sunday. So
yeah.
I actually went to the Nook last weekend, and they were too crowded. I saw people up against I saw people up against the door, and I thought, you know what?
That's great though.
I'm gonna check out the next place. So I went to Blair Mountain, and I stood in line there too. So
yeah,
it seems like they're both doing great. So shout out to both those businesses because they have a fantastic breakfast.
Yeah.
And so if there's another business that you own that we don't know anything about, I know you've done quite a bit down in downtown Blackwood with your project down there.
There's a lot of businesses in Gloucester Township that don't have a physical location too. I mean, I learned that through the nonprofit that I was starting up, and there's one couple that sticks out that they have a business where they have characters that they come to you for pictures, and then you can take your own pictures with them. It's amazing. It's like, because you think, oh, I'm going to go to this place here, I'm going to pay for this photo shoot and everything else. Everyone has like a professional level photography thing in their phone at this day and age. It's 2022 right now. Like anybody can take a picture and it looks good. So here's the character. We're gonna bring the character, and they have a whole array of characters. And there's people like that are photographers locally, and what you name it, they're out there. There's a florist that's. It's amazing who's in town and who's out there if you just learn to support your fellow community members. But
we should probably put together a directory of all the GT.
That's a great idea.
Businesses.
See, this ideas come from this stuff. That's why we talk.
It's another website we're gonna have to start up now.
Nah, same website. Just put it on there.
All right, folks.
All right, guys.
We will we'll catch you after the next meeting. The next meeting is on August 8th.
I believe next week. Yeah, 8th.
7:30. Come out, ask some questions, or just sit back.
Or don't, just sit back and watch.
Yeah, and then go hang out with us later. You can make it to Skeeter's Inc. after next meeting.
I don't know what day. I don't even know what day today is, let alone next time. But I'm gonna try. I always try. If I can make a meeting, I make a meeting.
I probably will. The very least 15 minutes in the parking lot is like kind of that's the in between both of those. So
yeah,
come out, hang out, and Thursday. I think Thursday too. Is it Thursday that the first Thursday of the month is the Republicans? They do their social club meeting, which is
I don't know these first and third. It always throws me off.
There's just so much.
Tell me the date to go into something.
There's so much opposition going on.
Yeah,
there's so many different opposition little things going on here. But just people that are in it, people that want to do good for the township. Yeah. So this Thursday would be the first Thursday of the month, which means that's the Gloucester Township Republican Club.
That's at Valari's.
That's Valari's.
Right?
I believe it's 7:00.
Okay.
I'll try to make that. I think I'll probably try to make that. And then,
all right, we'll see you at one of these things, folks.
All right, folks. Subscribe. Check out the website. Check out the Twitter. Check out the Facebook. And then we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you.
See ya.